Good evening, everyone. My name is Rachna Mudagani. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the University of Melbourne's Graduate Student Association. I'd like to welcome you all to participate in We Stand in Solidarity Forum that's organized by GSA and with members and partners with CAPA, the Council of Postgraduate Association, and CISA, who is also a very important organization that works with the Council for International Students and who have been kindly agreed to be our guests today to take lead in participating in We Stand in Solidarity Forum. I think for Graduate Student Association at the University of Melbourne, we actually believe that this is where the heart of all our graduates who study, particularly at the University of Melbourne, form our community. And our community's values have been about respect, acceptance, it's about inclusiveness, it's a safe home. It's a home where we have the freedom to express, we have the freedom of speech, but we always ensure that our sentiments or any of the content of what we discuss or what we share is not hurtful. It doesn't upset, it does not discriminate, it doesn't hurt the sentiments of our other members of our family or our community. It's unfortunate that time and again we've got to all come back together and remind ourselves, like all families do, that sometimes we do lash at one another. And I think as a strong home, we always have said we'll come back together and remind one another that there is no place for that kind of sentiments, values to be shared. So today's forum is really about, it kind of made us remind us. Over the last few weeks, we had a couple of events where our membership have expressed to us the hurt, the feelings that they have experienced reading some content which has been quite distasteful to their, which has been quite distasteful from their understanding. And I think it's absolutely important for GSA as an organization that strongly believes in collaboration. We believe in inclusiveness. We don't take decisions. We don't run activities. We don't share views based on any lens of nationality, race, religion, color, ethnicity. We actually see ourselves through a lens of inclusiveness. So I think today, I am so pleased that once we put out this expression of interest, and it was just an idea that was floated by our council members and our staff, with absolutely not much of preparation, we put out an expression of interest. And I was so delighted that CAPA and CISA's leaders, along with our council, came forward. And I see many of you who have come to participate and to hear the session, who've kind of thought that this one half an hour or 45 minutes that we spend today is absolutely important to kind of stand together and express our solidarity. So it's something that has been very close to my heart. It's something that I've endeavored in every walk of my life to kind of ensure that we lead by example. So I am going to actually hand over the forum to GSA President Jeremy Waite to start the session. But before we do that, let's formally do the acknowledgement to country. And I'd like to, on behalf of all the participants and the member organization, acknowledge the land from where I am telecast, having the webinar. That's the land of the Wurundjeri people of Kulin Nations. And pay my respect to past, present, and future emerging leaders. I also wanted to absolutely accept at this period of time, as a country that has had a history of invasions and, where has been, the community has suffered the sentiments and hurtfulness that after so many years, this forum is absolutely important for us to say the land on which we are gathering is safe, it's respectful, and that's the importance from which we are standing here today. So over to you, Jeremy.
Thank you, Rachna, and hello, everyone. So as the president of GSA and on behalf of GSA Council and our membership, I would firstly like to express my solidarity with the community of graduate students we have at the university, in particular the Chinese international student community, who have been subject to some discriminatory remarks in recent reporting on campus. I know many of my colleagues and friends within the university have quite openly communicated the hurt that arose from those remarks and the surrounding circumstances, and we really appreciate that you all were able to really communicate with us on what needed to be done in response to that. There is, of course, always space for advocating for the rights of students, both locally, internationally, domestically, through appropriate channels and without discriminating against others within the process. Discrimination against others based on nationality, religion, ethnicity, or any other basis is never okay, and is quite simply always outside the bounds of freedom of speech. So we, of course, will never accept that discrimination is simply just part of the conduct of freedom of speech that happens at the university. It is vital at this time and always that we stand in solidarity with all those in our very valued community to ensure that the university for graduate students is a place where these discussions can take place and that all those feel included to take part in those discussions. Again, I would like to thank all those within our membership who have communicated your concerns to us, because this has guided GSA's response throughout this. We are, as Rachna said, a membership organisation, and we are here for you at all times and always, whether throughout incidents like this or any other time of the year. So again, there is no room for tolerance nor discrimination at GSA. And I hope the sentiments from those on our panel will of course, help to kind of demonstrate this as well. And is an important part of GSA's response to making sure that all graduate students at the university feel safe, valued, and included. So first, I might hand over to Afsane, who is the GSA International Officer, to hear some words from her.
Thanks a lot, Jeremy, and thanks to all my GSA colleagues to set up this session. I really appreciate because this article was something that a lot of students were hurt, and I would like to read maybe a couple of students that I wrote from my heart for students who felt disappointment by reading the article. So I would like to express my support of all, not only the Chinese students, but all the students who have been affected by the article on China published in the Minimis, and express my deep disappointment reading the article attacking students at the university. I believe all students have the right to live and study in a safe environment where they do not feel that they are marginalized, because all aspects of hate and harassment and reinforcing terrorizing contents actually should be condemned by students and also by the university. As an international student living abroad, I believe no one living abroad trying to be the best version of themselves should be attacked, criticized, or affected because of their nationality, their race, language, or the color of their skin. And I totally feel how frustrated students are, and I hope we, and by we I mean all the students at the university, reconsider the effect of our words and try to make our community a safe space where we can all study and where we can grow all together. And I think we need a bit more work in our university to tackle racism and distinguish the difference between the freedom of speech and between the freedom of speech and hate speech. And yeah, let's start from ourselves, filling this culture gap that has been identified at the university, and share the value of respect, equality, and inclusivity to all students. And I stand in solidarity, and I would like to invite all of you to yeah, share the culture of coexistence and peace in our university campus. And thank you so much for giving me this space to share my words with my fellow students at the university.
Yeah, thank you very much, Afsane, for your words. Of course, really highlighting the value that our international student community at the university brings to both GSA and the university at large. I'm now going to call on Errol if he is ready to go next. So Errol is the president of the Council of Australian Postgraduate Associations, so is here in that capacity to say a few words. So over to you, Errol.
Thanks, Jeremy. I admit that I'm going to really speak from the heart here because it's not like I've prepared anything per se. When I was first made aware of this article and had a read of it, I admit that I felt a great deal of disappointment. I actually moved over to Australia when I was about 6 years old. To some extent, different from everyone else that would call themselves a university international student. There was a time in Australia that was very foreign to me. It was a foreign culture and a foreign society. And as a 6-year-old, it was pretty terrifying. Over time, I made a lot of friends and it became a safe place for me. And growing up in here for well over 20 plus years, I can very happily call it home. So seeing something like this seems very foreign to me. It's not the Australia that I remembered, especially at a university setting where, I understand there's a freedom of speech, but hate speech, not really welcome, no. I understand this last year has been very difficult for a lot of us. I think a lot of our lives have changed. There's a lot of uncertainty. And I understand that out of fear, people may lash out and say things or want to find ways to make things better or expect some sort of justice, whatever that might be in their mind. But I think when you go out and hurt others that have actually done nothing to you at all and make them feel unwelcomed, it's incredibly unnecessary. I feel awful, honestly, when I had read that. For someone that's lived in Australia and assimilated and became an Australian citizen, a proud Australian citizen, I saw that and I was like, that's not the Australia I remembered. So when I was asked to speak today, to attend, I was like, yes, of course. I think through these hardships, it's important for all the leaders to come together to say, we should rise above this in a positive way, to be better, to support each other, not try and pull each other down instead. So I think it's really great, and I'm really thankful for everyone else to be invited, but also everyone else that turned up. But yeah, thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Errol. That was really fantastic to hear from you, from your perspective. So now also from Kappa, if she is ready, I think I'll hand over to Anushka, who is the Kappa media officer, if she's able to say a few words as well.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for this session. I'm also an international student, and last year when COVID really hit, we were working on demands for international students and both domestic students as well. I also came across an article from UNSW which was removed from the website because it was about the rights for students in Hong Kong and talking about Chinese students as well. And to be honest, like Australia has most of the students from Asia, specifically from China, Hong Kong, Vietnam, and it's sad to see so much hatred against them. What I've noticed is like UCID and Western Sydney Macquarie University have started forums and clubs and associations just for Asian students, specifically Chinese, and the other students as well. And they talk about whatever they are facing, and they're trying to voice it out on like national level, like through Kappa or CISA or NUS, AG, like whatever, wherever they can voice it out. And yeah, it's sad to see what all is happening, because in my university as well, like in Western Sydney, I've seen Chinese students feeling that, you know, there's a lot of pressure for them to just be in the campus or not be in the campus. And I had few friends of mine saying that, when COVID really hit, we did not get out of the house because there was some random stranger in the supermarket said that, oh, you're Chinese, so you're going to spread COVID, which was really bad and mean to say that. And they tried to voice that concern to the university, and the university tried to see and investigate, but there was not a result that they could see. But if you had an Australian student saying that, I guess the investigation would go further ahead compared to an international student who faced the same thing. So yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very Nushka. And yeah, very right. I think a lot of what we're seeing now, unfortunately, does kind of hark back to some of what we saw at the start of the pandemic around some of the discrimination people of Asian descent have unfortunately faced throughout the past year and a bit. So yeah, thank you for that, quite, stark and unfortunate reminder of the reality that a lot of students are facing at the moment. So next, I might actually call on Mohammed, who is here, if he's happy to kind of introduce himself and also say a few sentiments as well. So over to you, Mohammed.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mohammed. I'm one of the People of Color officers over at UMSU. And honestly, when I first heard about this article, I was quite shocked. It was sent to me through the UMSU International President, and it was quite hurtful because, last year there was a vicious attack in Melbourne Central on 2 students of Asian descent because of COVID. And articles like these and people who write articles like these just incite that hate and incite that kind of internal bias towards people of Asian descent. And I want to express my solidarity and the UMSU solidarity with the Chinese community and the international student community as well. I'm an international student myself, so it is quite hurtful and quite shocking to see this in a publication that supports free speech, if they call it that at this point. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mohammed, for that. And yeah, we really appreciate UMSU and UMSU International's support throughout this situation and always. So next, I might hand over now to Belle Lim, who is the CISA president, so Council of International Students Australia, to say a few words and perhaps some concluding remarks as well for today. So over to you, Belle.
Thank you, Jeremy, and thank you everyone for having me. So my name is Belle Lim. I'm from CISA, the Council of International Students Australia. I was contacted by the journalist at the start to notify me about the article. I had a look. I was absolutely appalled by the kind of language that was used in there. But what I see actually is the comments where majority of people are opposed to that, and they actually call this person out. So for me, that is actually a really good sign. This article might represent the idea of a small group of people, but there are a lot more people that share our values that any kind of racism and discrimination will not be tolerated. The content is what brought us here, but this is a problem that is not new. This is a problem that I experience continually since I set foot in this country 8 years ago. So before I move on to describe more about this problem and how we can come together and really tackle the real issue here, I want to acknowledge the swift and appropriate response that GSA and University of Melbourne have taken. We are very happy to be working with GSA very closely as a member of CISA to support international students in the University of Melbourne, and I really want to applaud all the work that their officers are doing. So I actually think that instead of breaking us apart, this crisis brought us together, and we have this forum together today to discuss this problem. The issue of racism is not new. When we look at the history, it is full of these ugly parts. So it's not something that we look at this one article and we say, oh no, this is a new problem. It is not. And as international students, we face racism in terms of unconscious bias all the time. We don't feel valued by the community. We don't receive the same level of welfare support during COVID-19. We don't get equal access to opportunities or employment. And we were treated less respectfully on many different ways. These are not blatantly obvious, but they are there. And during COVID-19, we were very concerned about the experience of international students. The proportion of students and the number of students who have contacted us at CESA citing racist incident is absolutely heartbreaking. We've also seen the physical attack that previous panelists mentioned about on international students. And for us, with Asian heritage, we do fear for our safety when we go out to the shopping center. Are we going to be attacked this time? Is it going to be our turn this time? And this is just not the way that it should be, especially for us, international students and university students. In this setting, we study, live, and engage in a global setting. You look around and see all the classmates and your lecturers and the professional staff, they come from different parts of the world. That's why this is really a place to learn from each other. And we expect our students and graduates to have a global outlook. And we want that from all international students, and we absolutely want that for domestic students. And we need to have a value that champions equality, diversity, inclusion, and collaboration. So I am very happy to see that student organizations like GSA, CAPA, and us, CESA, are taking this leadership position on this kind of issue. So, I want to emphasize that political debate and ideological debates are welcome under freedom of speech. But to reiterate what Ragnar said, we do not tolerate any hurt that's inflicted on other people. And we do not tolerate any kind of discrimination. So with all of that said, it is a big issue that we need to tackle one by one. However, I'm optimistic about our response as a new generation to this kind of behavior. Over the past 12 months alone, we have seen global outrage and global movement against brutality and Black Lives Matter, and recently with Asian community. For me, I thought this would never come. For me, I didn't think that this kind of movement will happen for the Asian community. So I am optimistic about that, but there's a lot of work that we need to do. And as students, as international students, we need to come together and voice up on that. I think I also want to mention that to, address some of this discrimination, CESA is launching an anti-discrimination month in May, so it's coming up very soon. We have 4 sessions that tackle race, so racism, LGBTQ, gender, and disability. And we have the Race Commissioner Chin Tan to help us launch the first session. So I think it is time for us to make a statement and bring the students together in solidarity, as the name of this forum suggests. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Belle, and for everyone else who came along tonight, whether you spoke on the panel or you just came along to watch, or you're watching this later on. We do really appreciate that you're taking the time to take note of this really important issue. And of course, this is part of GSA's response to the incident. And of course, there will be further things to say in the future regarding what GSA is doing to support the international student community at this time. So that is it from us. Thank you very much again, everyone, for joining us. We hope you enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening, and please don't hesitate to stay in contact with us and communicating with us, whether about these type of concerns or about anything else. So thank you, everyone.